So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, the festivities continue. I told you we were in for a great show today, and it truly is turning out to be one of our best shows ever. And we're all gearing up for Christmas 2023, and now we are off. We're off around the globe again, and we are landing in Vietnam. Yes, Christmas in Vietnam. Now, Christmas Vietnam was new for Wendy Wu Tours last year. The first Christmas tour did exceptionally well, and it's back again this year due to popular demand. And actually, ladies and gentlemen, Christmas in Vietnam inspired the whole of the Christmas collection for Wendy Wu Tours, so it really is a good one. And I'm joined now by Peter Crane, Head of Product at Wendy Wu Tours. Peter, good to see you.
And you, Andy, and you.
Brilliant. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure, just like me, for those of you who haven't been, what is Christmas like in Vietnam, Peter?
Well, let's start at the beginning. As you said just now, this tour last year was so successful for us, and we had such a positive feedback from our customers that we couldn't resist the idea of expanding the project and now launching 6 different tours across 6 different destinations for Christmas 2023. If I may, I'll read a couple of the lovely comments we had from our customers last year that really endorsed this trip. The first said, "From start to finish, the tour was a great experience. Touring Ha Long Bay was an amazing way to spend Christmas Day and made it one we will remember forever." And the second person wrote, "This was Christmas with a difference. Visiting wonderful Hoi An and the exceptionally beautiful Ha Long Bay, we had a good group of travellers and a super Wendy Wu guide who made this trip extra special." That's music to our ears. So as you can tell, our customers really did have a fabulous time on this trip last year, so we're excited to be running it again. What we were a little bit surprised about last year was that Christmas in Vietnam, despite it not being a Christian country, is really celebrated. The Vietnamese people love Christmas. They love celebrating Christmas with lights, decorations, lanterns, lots of festivities, gathering of families, which is a little bit unexpected, but it's a real bonus of being there at this time of year. The other factor, I think it's an obvious point, but Christmas in the UK can be cold and damp and miserable, as we know. In Vietnam, it's the best time to be there. It's dry, it's sunny, it's the warmest time of year, and typically there's either zero rainfall or very little indeed.
Sounds wonderful, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't it? Pete, tell us more about this tour.
I will. It's a lovely little tour. It's only 12 days. It starts on the 15th of December and travels the whole length of Vietnam from south to north. As all our programs are, it's fully inclusive. So it includes the flights, the hotels, the transport, all of the meals, all of the experiences, all of the evening activities, and of course the services of your expert Wendy Wu Tours guide. So you travel from south to north through the country, finishing at the Christmas weekend, probably the highlight of the whole trip, which is Ha Long Bay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, all sounds very good indeed. Peter, we want to know, yes, ladies and gentlemen, don't we, the highlights and experiences of this tour?
Yes, I'll run through it from beginning to end. It's a 12-day tour, and it starts in Saigon, the exuberant southern city which is driving Vietnam forward into the modern world. But it's also, as anybody who's been there knows, a treasure trove of fascinating heritage. You can visit the Reunification Palace and see the wonderful colonial French-influenced architecture at Notre Dame Cathedral and the really impressive post-colonial Central Post Office building. Outside Saigon, you can get to visit the Cu Chi tunnels and discover the whole story of the Viet Cong. Those tunnels were central to some of the Viet Cong's strategic operations during the Vietnam War, and you'll learn about how they were used by the soldiers during that combat as underground hospitals, food and weapon caches, and also living quarters for the soldiers, of course. Then we go to the south of Vietnam, the deep south, the Mekong Delta region, which is also called the rice basket of Vietnam. And there we spent a lovely day just cruising and exploring the backwaters of the Delta, winding through the canals in small paddle boats, and just enjoying the nature of that beautiful part of the country. From Saigon, we fly north to Hoi An. Hoi An, for many people, is a real highlight of Vietnam. It's a charming town with lantern-lit streets, lovely ochre-coloured buildings, We do a lovely little walking tour through the ancient streets, visiting the Japanese covered bridge, the Chinese temple, also a traditional Vietnamese market. And nearby we visit the Tra Quay village, which is a real chance to see rural Vietnam at its best. You'll get to try your hand at some traditional farming techniques and meet the local farmers, which is a lovely experience in itself. From Tra Quay we continue to Hue. Hue is a lovely place. It's the embodiment of Vietnam's dynamic imperial era. So the history of Vietnam is very much tied up in this town. It's a city dominated by the citadel, the imperial citadel, which you'll get to explore along with the forbidden purple city, which lies within the walls of the citadel, and also visit the royal tomb of Emperor Minh Mang. This is an incredible, beautiful complex with about 40 monuments inside it, surrounded by gardens and pools. From Hue we fly up to Hanoi, which is the capital of Vietnam, as you'll know. In Hanoi, it's a treasure trove of sites, including the One Pillar Pagoda, the Temple of Literature. We do an amazing cyclo ride through the old quarter of Vietnam, buzzing with the local motor scooters and road traffic. We stop at a local cafe and sample a really unusual Vietnamese specialty, which is called egg coffee. You've got to try it to believe it. We also witness a really spectacular performance in the evening in Hanoi of a show called the Quintessence of Tonkin Show, which is performed entirely on water.
Now we want to know, ladies and gentlemen, don't we? It's Christmas, we're going for Christmas. Peter, what are those Christmas experiences? What's the magic of Christmas in this tour?
This is the best bit of this tour. This is the end of the tour, and it's the Christmas weekend, and it's got the highlights in it. So what more could you ask for? We go from Hanoi, the capital, to Halong Bay, which is regarded by many as not just the most beautiful place in Vietnam, but one of the most beautiful places on the entire planet. So on Christmas Eve, we board our ship and sail into the Halong Bay on a 2-night cruise. 2 nights is long enough to take you into the furthest corners of the Halong Bay. We enjoy lunch on board on Christmas Eve and cruise out into the waters, enjoy an afternoon kayaking excursion on the waters of the bay, and back on the ship in the afternoon you can relax, enjoy a drinks reception on Christmas Eve, and then sit down to a delicious Christmas barbecue dinner. Then Christmas morning begins like no other Christmas you've ever had, with an invigorating Tai Chi session on the deck of the boat as the sun rises over Lan Ha Bay. Now Lan Ha is the bay beyond Halong. This is the place where you can get to if you've got a 2-night cruise in the region. A little bit further off the beaten track into the quieter, less visited parts of this region. Equally beautiful, but less visited. It really is a hidden gem. So Christmas Day itself begins with Tai Chi, and then you have all sorts of activities on the day itself, including visiting the limestone caves, seeing floating villages, kayaking into secluded coves, or just relaxing on board the boat, or visiting a local beach before finishing the day with a Christmas drinks reception on board and a Christmas dinner.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Christmas in Vietnam. What a tour, and what a way to spend the festive period this year in Vietnam. Peter, thank you. So exciting. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. It's been a pleasure.